The Maintenance Contract Manager is designed to help you reduce the work involved with creating multiple repetitive jobs. This can typically be used for maintenance work like alarm testing, property cleaning, or garden maintenance. First step is to access the contact screen, then find and load the relevant client. In this example, I've created a client called Contracts. Click the Launchpad tab at the top here. Then click the Maintenance Contracts button. You can see the details of existing contracts up here. If we double-click here, you can edit those details. Let's talk through the data you can record for the contract. Title is just for you to specify a recognizable name for the contract. This type of maintenance is managed in your pick list editor, the same as most other drop-down fields in Job Tracker. For this season start and end date range, you can choose to set this for a limited period, like 1 year, or set it far in advance if you plan to use this contract ongoing. It just depends what you need to achieve. Some customers have yearly contracts and need to report on activity within just that time period. You can specify here a minimum number of visits required. This is helpful if the frequency can vary, for example if the job is weather dependent or varies by season. The frequency is a drop-down, and much like the type of maintenance, this can be programmed in the pick list editor, accessible from the home screen of Job Tracker. This slider button just allows you to say if the contract is still active or not. Here you can add details of the work required. You can later program this up to automatically import into any jobs you create in bulk via this Maintenance Contract Manager. In turn, that information can then be made available to engineers utilizing Job Tracker Mobile. Save your changes, and then you are ready to add properties or sites to the contract. To add details of another contract, simply click the New Contract button and complete the fields as appropriate. Once you press Save, the title will appear here, on the left, for selection or editing as required. The next step, before we can schedule any work, is to add properties to the contract. Any properties added to the contract will display in this table below. Click the Add Properties button. The window that appears will allow you to add relevant properties to the contract. To select a property, simply click its row. You will note it is then highlighted in green on the right-hand column. If you are searching for a specific site, use the search fields up here. You have a Select All button here to help speed up the process, and a Deselect All button if you need to start again. Once happy you have selected the relevant properties, click this button to add properties to the contract. You can add more properties at any time. Stepping right back to the first step in the process, we access this module from the Contact section. If you press this button here, the address list below will filter to only show any properties that are linked to the client that you had originally loaded in the contact screen. You can choose to have contracts that are specific to each client, or choose to create a record in your contact screen that holds all of your maintenance contract details. These contracts can then span multiple clients. You choose the process most suited to your business. So to recap, we now have details of the contract, and we have properties that are linked to that contract. By double-clicking on a property in this list, you will be able to see the history of any relevant job for that site and contract. You can edit the information in the section above here if there are particular details specific to this site that need to be noted. This will not alter the contract. This table shows you details of the current or most recent job for each property, relevant to the selected contract. You will see how this information is updated as we now go and schedule some work. Click the button Schedule Work. Now, with a simple click of the relevant row, select the engineer or contractor that you wish to assign to the jobs that you will now create. You can assign multiple if required, or indeed not assign any. Next, select each property, again by simply clicking the required row. Then click Create Jobs. The next window that appears shows you a template that will be used to create each of the jobs you have requested. In here you can add general details relevant to each job, or can use field codes to automatically insert details, from either the main contract, or from the property-specific contract page. If you are using a template you have previously created, simply click Create the Jobs. However, if you have edited the template, and wish to save it for future use, remember to click Save Template first. Once you have confirmed you want to create the jobs, close the Schedule Work window and return to the Contract Manager window. Refresh the screen, and now you will see each of the relevant properties has a job number alongside it. Double-click the job number to open the job. You can see that the information from the template has now been populated in the jobs that have been created. Once you have the contract and template set up, you can see this is now an incredibly quick and streamlined way to create multiple jobs all at once. Now, you can choose if you repeat this process at this stage, and create all jobs needed for the full term of the contract, or whether you prefer to create them periodically, like monthly. If you are creating for the full term of the contract, just remember to change your job start date on the template before you create each batch of jobs. Note: if you create all necessary jobs on the contract at the start, just be aware that the last created job is the one that shows in this window. You can view the status of each job scheduled for that site by double-clicking the relevant row here. This module is designed to work with Job Tracker Mobile, with updates coming directly from the engineers or contractors. However, some details can be updated here, such as completed date and the job marked as finished. Once the job is updated, the completed date shows here and is no longer marked as pending completion. The visit notes and last engineer visit date would feed from Job Tracker Mobile, providing you do not have multiple engineer notes enabled. We hope you have found this video useful. If you have questions regarding this time-saving feature, or indeed any other feature in Job Tracker, please do not hesitate to contact us. We'd be delighted to help.